One other thing that we need to be conscious of relates to the levels of preparedness of the National Election Security Task Force. There's a level of preparedness, but part of that level of preparedness is also a challenge that I consistently throw out to ordinary citizens of this country. Were we even to have adequate men and logistics, as citizens we have a responsibility not to allow ourselves to be used and to be pushed in particular directions. That failure to proactively intervene and prevent the escalation raises fundamental questions about the levels of police preparedness if we cast our minds back to what happened in Donkokrom and the failure to provide emergency response and emergency backup. I think the violent acts must be placed squarely at the leadership of all the political parties.
A few weeks from now, eligible Ghanaians will be exercising their mandate to elect leaders for our dear nation. We in the military and our colleagues in other security agencies and services have seen what wars have done to the countries that we were privileged to serve in. What is pertinent to note is that most of these wars and conflicts, especially in Africa, have risen out of elections and power struggles. We do not want the sad situation to befall our beloved country. It is in this regard that I, in the capacity as the Chief of Defense Staff, together with the Inspector General of Police and other heads of institutions, are resolved and committed to do whatever our Constitution mandates us to do to ensure that the integrity of this country is preserved and there's peace before, during, and after elections.
The National Peace Council is made up of chiefs, religious leaders, the Muslims, and then the Christians. We have also some stakeholders, so that if there is a problem in any place, they are there to mediate, bring the people together for us to have one dialogue. We have the media. The media, their duty is supposed to give us information, to educate us and tell us what to do and then what not to do, but not to try to initiate war or violence in the society.
So there you have it, some security experts warning and also telling us how we should go about this year's elections, especially considering the fact that we've had a number of clashes ahead of the polls that comes off December 7th. We're going straight to Skype to speak to a security analyst and a public safety expert on this very development, where we're having a lot of clashes at health works in this country. We've been joined via Skype by Nanaya Akwada. He's a public safety expert and he's going to help us discuss this very issue. Good evening, sir, and thanks for your time on News at 10.
A very good evening. You guys too.
First of all, Nanaya, should we be considering banning health works a few days to the elections?
Well, I in the scheme of considerations, that should be the last thing, on the list, owing to the fact that it's all part of the democratic process or experiment. People must have the freedom to exercise, express their beliefs and their convictions. So it should be the last thing on the table until it gets to the point where it threatens the entire security and safety of the nation. But to this extent, we still think, as worrying as it is, we still can't contain it. It's early days yet. We are rather disappointed that the police high command has to sit down for this to recur. Having seen what we saw a couple of days ago, one would expect that by now, considering what happened around the house of the flag bearer of the NPP, one would have expected that by now the district commanders across the country will rise up to the occasion, begin to coordinate such activities over the period, because running up to December 7, these things are going to, continue more and more, and it will be more diversified, more scattered. So we need the police to take charge at the district level, and then, as it were, coordinate such programs so that we can avoid parties, coming together unduly, sometimes unexpectedly, with all the suspicions around.
With two cases in mind, what happened at Nima and what has happened today at Asokore in the Eastern region, are you surprised that no arrest has been effected by the Ghana Police Service?
Well, absolutely. I'm not surprised. I actually said last week that I was very disappointed, especially the one that happened in Accra. And I indicated that once the police have not made any arrests, and for them to send a signal loud and clear to the rest of the country, we shall have these things recurring at various parts of the country. And lo and behold, we have one today happening in the Eastern region. If the police does not come out to own or coordinate such programs or activities over the week, and they do not come out with people that they have arrested, whether they are suspects or not, make it public that these people were part of this incident and they've been arrested, they are going to be charged before the law courts. We are going to have people experimenting with the authority of the police and tampering with public safety and public order, heading towards December 7th. And we think that should be more worrying.
Don't you think that not arresting anybody in the two incidences is going to reduce the kind of confidence the public do have in the Ghana Police Service?
I do not think so. I believe that Ghanaians are well aware of the constraints also that the police face in their job, in terms of some arrests concerning or connected to such political activities. The Ghanaian public really have confidence in the police. Their confidence is really high in the police, and it's up to the police to rise up to the occasion. We have heard them not mention words in the past week that they are not going to treat anybody with kid glove, regardless of which political party they belong to. And we are hoping to see them in action. We want to believe that if Eastern region goes by and still no arrests have been made, and it's not made public, next week or in the course of the week, we are going to see other incidents happening in other places. And we think that will not be good for the image of the police. That will not be good for our national conscience and public safety assurance. So it's important that moving forward, immediately as possible, the IGP should issue a communication to all of his regional and district commanders to communicate same to all political parties that whatever program they have from the polling station level to the constituency level, they must submit all their programs for the police to, as it were, vet the programs and help guide the program such that we shall not be having these conflicts. But let me also quickly add that to have calm and peace during this season is not only the work of the police service. We also want to call on the Peace Council. We call on, first of all, party chairmen at the various levels, from polling station through constituency up to regional and etc. They must begin to, interact with their opponents at each level, so that people understand that we are not going to war. We are only making a choice of someone to lead this country. Once that interaction goes on, the Peace Council steps in at that level, the polling station level, the constituency level, and so on and so forth. I believe that we are going to make a headway. The entire work is not for the police to do. The police will have to look at where they have to look at and do it. But a greater part of the work also lies on the party leadership and other civil society organizations.
Thank you very much for joining us via Skype tonight. Nanaya Akwada is a public safety expert and also the executive director of the Bureau of Public Safety. That is it for the big one.